What is up, all you gamers out there, and welcome to the 2023 Game Awards. Well, not really. On today's video, we go over which games I think will be in the top 5 of Game of the Year and which one I feel will win the prestigious award on December 7th. Now, 2023 has been a video gamer's dream with so many titles that have been released and so little time to be able to play them all. But we as gamers are cheering on our favorite consoles, genres, and been creating exciting memories this year. So you ask how we will rank them? Easy. I will use a 2% of the rankings. The first will rank the possibility of the game being in the top 5 games chosen for Game of the Year, and the second percentage it has to win the prestigious award. Now, before we start, I'll be giving 10 games that I feel have a chance to be in the top 5, but some games just didn't make the list. I had to cut it down from 13 to what I have now of 10 games that I think will be on there. So games like Super Mario Wonder, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and Resident Evil 4 Remake just didn't make the cut for this year's awards. Many of these games I've had a chance to either play or have others seen a chance to experience it while watching others play the game as well. So now let's get into it and see who's gonna be Game of the Year for 2023. At number 10 is no other than Square Enix's Final Fantasy XVI. The 2023 action role-playing game from Final Fantasy series was PlayStation 5 exclusive and one of their exclusives that has gotten a chance of making Game of the Year run. Upon release, Final Fantasy XVI was well received by critics. Praise was given to its story, characters, music, and combat system. Now, criticism was focused on its lack of deeper role-playing elements, fragmented issues from its performance mode, and side quest design. The game sold over 3 million units during its first week after launch, and chances of it being in the top 5, I give Final Fantasy XVI 8% and a 5% chance of winning Game of the Year. Number 9 comes from Bandai's Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. The 2023 mega-based combat game is the first entry in the Armored Core series since the 2013 Armored Core Verdict Day. The game was released on PlayStation, Xbox, and on PC. The gameplay emphasizes on mecha-based vehicular combat. Players in this game take on the role of expert pilots in control of strong mechs known as armor cores. The option for players to arm their mechs with a range of weaponry is a standout aspect of the game, and the game received generally favorable reviews and became the highest selling entry in the series, selling 1.3 million copies on Windows alone. I give Armored Core a 12% chance of being in the top 5 and an 8% chance of winning Game of the Year. Number 8 takes you on a galaxy with Starfield. The action role-playing game developed by Bethesda Game Studios takes place in a space-themed setting and was released on Windows and Xbox. The game features an open world in the form of an area within the Milky Way galaxy containing both fictional and non-fictional planetary systems. The player assumes the role of a space miner working for the company Argos Extractors, who have been commissioned by the Inimic constellation. After reacting to an artifact, the player is sent on many quests through the galaxy, making allies and enemies along the way to solve the greatest mysteries left for the humanity to uncover. Starfield received generally favorable reviews, and on September 7, 2023, Bethesda announced that Starfield has over 6 million players, making it Bethesda's biggest launch. Starfield reached 10 million players by September 19th. I give Starfield a 20% chance of being in the top 5 and a 15% chance of winning Game of the Year. Number 7, I give you my dark horse for this year's Game of the Year awards with Sea of Stars. So what does that mean? This is the one game not in my top 5 that I think could surprise everyone with an entry and victory in this year's awards. The 2023 role-playing video game by Sabotage Studio was released on all systems and PC. The game is a retro-style role-playing video game centered around 2 heroes named Valerie and Zale, who use the power of the moon and sun respectively to fight against the creations of an evil alchemist. Gameplay includes elements of puzzle solving and turn-based combat, with players able to control up to 6 playable characters. The game is inspired by role-playing games such as Illusion of Gaia, Breath of Fire, and Chrono Trigger. Sea of Stars is located in the same setting as The Messenger, but is set thousands of years before the events of the latter game. The game received generally positive reviews from its critics, and Sea of Stars has sold over 100,000 copies on the first day and over 250,000 in its first week. I give Sea of Stars a 33% chance of being in the top 5 and a 25% chance of winning Game of the Year. Number 6 takes us to the story of our mother Lilith with Diablo 4, the 2023 online-only action role-playing game developed by Blizzard and the 4th main installment in the Diablo series took over the PlayStation, Xbox, and Windows community by storm, with players able to create a character from one of 5 playable classes and use those skills to complete quests through combat. The core formula of the series gameplay revolves around gradually obtaining stronger equipment by defeating increasingly difficult enemies while traveling through 5 regions, hell itself, and dungeons on their quest to bringing down Lilith. Diablo 4 takes place 50 years after the event of Diablo 3, Reaper of Souls, and Diablo 4 received generally positive reviews from critics who praised the game's narrative and atmosphere. The game generated $666 million in revenue within its first 5 days after launch, giving this game a 40% chance of being in the top 5 and a 25% chance of being Game of the Year. Bibbidi bobbidi boop. Number 5 brings us to the wizarding world of Harry Potter in the 2023 action role-playing game Hogwarts Legacy. Developed by Avalon Studio, released on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, with Nintendo Switch coming on November 2023. The game, part of the Wizarding World franchise, takes place in the late 1800s, a century prior to the events chronicled in the Harry Potter novels. The player controls a student enrolled in the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry who learns to wield an array of magical abilities and objects. With the assistance of fellow students and professors, the protagonist embarks on a journey to unearth an ancient secret concealed within the Wizarding World. Even with some of the controversy due to J.K. Rowling, the game received great reviews, and the early access period resulted in record-breaking viewership on streaming platform Twitch, making it the most watched single-player game of all time on the platform. The game has a revenue crossing the 1 billion mark, and 15 million copies were sold globally. I give Hogwarts Legacy a 45% chance of being in the top 5 and a 33% chance of winning Game of the Year. Number 4, we go on a fairy tale adventure with Liza P. The Souls-like action role-playing video game developed by Noet's Games was released on PlayStation, Xbox, and on PC. The game is loosely based on the 1883 Italian novel The Adventures of Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi. The player controls the humanoid Pinocchio and travels on foot through the city of Krat, exploring the environment and fighting various biomechanical enemies. Pinocchio uses an arsenal of weapons such as swords and axes against his enemies and can dodge and block their blows. The game features a lying system where the decision the player makes during certain passages affect the course of events, leading to 3 different endings. Liza P did receive generally favorable reviews. I give Liza P a 50% chance of being in the top 5 with a 30% chance of winning Game of the Year. We now get into the top 3, and with number 3 comes the web slinger Spider-Man 2, which is set to release this week on the PlayStation. The upcoming action-adventure game developed by Insomniac Games and published by Sony Entertainment, it is the 3rd entry in Marvel Spider-Man series, acting as a sequel to Marvel Spider-Man and the follow-up to Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, with Peter Parker and Miles Morales struggling to navigate the next steps in their personal lives while combating an assortment of villains, among them including a private militia by the mercenary Kraven the Hunter, the monstrous Lizard, and extraterrestrial Venom symbiote, which bonds itself to Parker and negatively influences him, threatening to destroy his personal relationships with everyone in the city. The original from 2018 was nominated for Game of the Year, but did not win. Will this one see the same result or possibly win? I give this game a 60% chance of being in the top 5 with a 45% chance of being this year's Game of the Year. Number 2 on the list, we bring you Baldur's Gate 3, the role-playing video game developed by Lorien Studios, the 3rd installment in the Baldur's Gate series, based on the tabletop role-playing system of Dungeons & Dragons. Players can create 1 or more characters and form a party along with a number of pre-generated characters to explore the game's story. Optionally, players are able to take one of their characters and team up online with other players to form a party. The game is divided into 3 acts, each taking place in a distinct region of the world. Within these acts, the game adopts an open world format permitting players to tackle quests in virtually any sequence. Unlike previous games in the Baldur's Gate series, Baldur's Gate 3 has a turn-based combat. The game takes place in the fictional world of the Forgotten Realms during the year of 1492 DR, over 120 years after the events of the previous game Baldur's Gate 2 Shadows of Am, and months after the events of the playable Dungeons & Dragons module Baldur's Gate Descent in the Avernus. The game received critically acclaim for its narrative, gameplay, and player choice. I give this game a 90% chance of being in the top 5 with a 60% chance of winning Game of the Year. And number 1, the cream of the crop, goes to Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, the 2023 action-adventure game developed and published by Nintendo and the sequel to Breath of the Wild, brings players back to the open world of Hyrule. The player controls Link as he searches for Princess Zelda and fights to prevent the Demon King from destroying the world. New to Tears of the Kingdom are Zona devices, which the player can use for combat, propulsion, exploration, and more. Tears of the Kingdom takes place several years after Breath of the Wild, at the end of the Zelda timeline in the Kingdom of Hyrule. Link and Zelda are set out to explore a cavern beneath Hyrule Castle from which a poisonous substance called Gloom has been seeping out and causing people to fall ill. Upon release, the game received critically acclaim for its improvements, expanded open world, and features encouraging exploration and experimentation. It sold more than 10 million copies in its first 3 days of release and over 18.51 million copies by June 2023, making it one of the best-selling games of Nintendo Switch. Now, can Tears of the Kingdom take the award like its predecessor did in 2017, Breath of the Wild? We shall see. I give this game a 95% chance of being in the top 5 with a 70% chance of being Game of the Year of 2023. So there you have it, my picks for this year Game of the Year awards coming out December 7th. I will be live streaming it that same day when they have it. I cannot wait. It is super exciting. I really want to see if Spider-Man or Tears of the Kingdom can take the reins and win it again like they did when they came out the first time. I don't know. It's going to be a very, very fun year. Like I said, we had a lot of games this year. I'm still trying to play a lot of these games that are in this list right now, and hopefully, you know, can get through them before December 7th comes so I can give a real honest review if I think it's the right choice or not. And as always, guys, we are going to be playing Spider-Man when it releases this Thursday. Well, actually, no, this Friday. We'll be playing it live on stream. And of course, Super Mario Wonder will be bringing it on our YouTube channel. Now, I want to know what games you think are going to be in the top 5 for this year's Game of the Year awards and which one you think is going to win and why. Now, I also want to know if you guys agree with the list that I have here, right here as well. And as well, always, guys, like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to check out the video that's going to be popping out here. We got a lot of stuff coming to the channel. I want to thank you all for everything you guys do. But this is your favorite troll from YouTube signing out. Until you see me on the next video or next stream. See you.